Today we are here live at Private Label Studios, and today summer is not over yet, ladies, so guess what we will be making? The most famous body wave. Here we have our 18 HD lace closure here, and we also have our 3 bundles to make sure it's nice and full of 18 and 220s. So I will begin to walk through this. The very first thing we want to do is, so with caps, we have a few options. A lot of people like to either use the mesh or the cloth one. Either one is fine. It's totally all preference. So we're just gonna put this on her. So I'm just gonna place this on. One thing I like to do shortly after I apply the cap on the head is I'll turn this around so you guys can see. I always like to kind of keep it at an angle and just make sure this is nice and on well. You want to make sure that we have it secure on the head, so I always like to go in with my handy dandy T-pin here to secure it in so that it's not sliding as you're trying to sew. This will also decrease the amount of gaps that you have in the wig head itself once it's complete, because you always want to make sure that the wig is as flat as possible. So we're just going to make sure it is secure. All right, so I'm just going to rotate her around so you guys can take a look and see what she looks like now that she's on and nicely secure. Let me loosen this up a little bit so we can rotate her. There we go. So as you can see, she is ready to be slayed.
Can you give us your social media?
Yes, so my social media is at Miss Aja, ms.aja. Follow me on there, where it will take you directly to my wig page. The wig lab is where all of my units will be sewn. So, I'm going to get started. So guys, I'm a little short, so let me go ahead and adjust this a little bit. Oh, sorry. I'll put her on the dots. Okay. So the most important thing, especially for me personally with wigs, is I like for the wig to be super duper flat. So I always want to make sure that going at least an inch above the line here. So hold on, just to see, so you guys can see here. You never want to exactly place it on the headband itself. This creates for the wig to lay a little flatter. So I'm gonna go get some more pins. Bear with me a second. And in just a moment, after I secure it down, I will explain what we are trying to do here. So as you can see, we now have our first 2 clips on here. And again, this part is the part that is very important and it takes a little time. So sometimes you have to go back in a couple times and adjust. Just going to put one more in here, just so I. So I'm just going to tighten this just a little bit. Okay, so here we are, guys. Now you can see We have our 18-inch HD closure here secured down and is ready to be sewn on. Let me just move this back, the sheet is moving. Okay. So as you can have to pin it down like this. I just like to do it because I feel like it holds it in place for me as I'm sewing, and it just allows it to stay nice and flat because we do not want lumpy wigs. So today is my very first time using the nylon thread for a wig. So we're gonna see how this goes. Dallas Christopher really wants me to try this, so we'll see how we like it today, ladies. So as I begin to sew, so I don't have any mistakes, or leave needles in here on accident, I take out the T-pin, so you can just place them anywhere that feels comfortable for you. I always just put mine back in the wig so that I'm able to use them as I begin to sew in my bundles. So when you're sewing on closures, frontals, you always want to make sure that you sew this part nice and tight. It just makes it look super flat and natural. And of course, since we're using our HD closure here today, it will create the illusion of a more natural hairline, which is great. It'll look like it's coming directly out of the scalp, which we love. So we just want to make sure that that part is nice and secure so that once we apply the unit on, it looks nice and neat and natural. I want to make sure it's nice, tight, and secure as we sew. A little tangled up, so that's normal too. Just remove the T-pin and continue to sew. And let me just rotate her around over a little bit just to make always a good deep wave because it's very easy to maintain. I think it's a great first start. If you're just now starting to get into wigs, I think this will be a great wig for you because you don't have, it's very low maintenance. You don't have to curl it. It's already a mousse on there, even a little water in most cases, and just make times your bonnet, you have head wraps on and everything, so just make sure you keep your wigs as long as possible. I love especially with the HD closures. Yes, they are nicer, but they're also a little bit more thin than the average closure. A smaller comb and kind of just take parts and is it tangled? Okay, no, it's not. As you can see, we are moving so that you guys are able to see. Oops. And she's moving. 1 second. Right, hopefully that helps. You guys can better see her. Okay, so I really like this hair. Off rip, as you can see here. And silky and soft. And I can't wait to see what the finished product looks like. And the whole time, she decided to get a frontal. She got like a probably like a like this. I had my 5x5 HD closure. Oh no, I think it's tangled. Hold on. Sorry about that little hiccup we had there. But I had a 5x5 closure as well. And I decided to go really long. It's very nice and very low maintenance. The only thing I did the whole time while I was on vacation is applied a little water every day and just kind of went about my day. My hair lasted the whole trip. I didn't have to worry about anything. And then also too, with closures, you do not have to apply glue. So if you're not into gluing or wanting to have a more natural look and don't want to have to worry, a lot of people worry about their size being very first time. I'm usually live by the cotton, but so far I do feel like it tangles a little less. Out having to start a new one, so I like that. Another thing I like to do too is I always like to keep my handy dandy clips on file here. And this sometimes too can also help with moving a little quicker. So I'm just gonna clip her up. So move her this way. Okay. So we are almost done sewing on our closure. Just gonna stick this in. On the last part of it. Oops. Then we will be going in with our 20-inch. As always, when you're working on wigs, you know, you just always want to take a glance here and there, making sure you like the way the wig is flowing. just gonna pull out this last T. Okay, so these T-pins are starting to be in the way a little bit. So I'm just gonna make sure I move them all to the very bottom, out of my way. Okay, we're about to just take them off the wig. This part usually doesn't happen. Just put them back there. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna lift her up, see what she's looking like. She's looking really good. Okay. It's about time to lift her back up because she's getting a little. All right, this is going to be our last stitch for the front closure. So I'm just gonna move these out of my way again. Okay. So now we have secured our closure down nice and neat. You always want to leave enough room so that you're able to tie a knot, and you can re-knot your thread. And use the leftover portion. It looks like we also have a knot here. I had to cut this off. Unravel. So now I'm just gonna cut off the excess thread here. Boom, there we go. We now have our closure secured on Miss Bubbles, y'all. I'm gonna call her Miss Bubbles. So I'm gonna just raise this back up a little bit, just because once I begin sewing, I prefer to have the wig propped up. And then, boom. So now we are going in with our 20-inch here. It's very silky and soft. So what I'm gonna do is first is you have to cut off the little silver part on the bundles and slowly unravel it. Now, one thing you have to take note of is when you're making wigs, a lot of times too, the longer the bundles, the smaller they are. The shorter the bundles, the bigger they are a lot of times. But you can never go wrong with, I always start my wig off with a double track at the bottom. And the reason is because I always try to ensure that I can get all of the hair on the head. And a lot of times, most people at least want 3 bundles inside of the wig. So to make sure that we get as much hair in as possible, we're just gonna go in with a double row at the bottom. You always want to make sure that if you do, even if it's more than 3 bundles and you're trying to get 4 or 5 bundles in, you also want to make sure that you do that at the back of the wig, just to make the wig look more flat. It won't look necessarily lumpy if you do it at the top, but I always single track at the top of the wig. Also too, let me just turn her over again so you can see. All the wig caps have like this thick hair band. I'm just going to secure it. There we go. Let me turn. So I'm just gonna turn her a little bit. Hair, then get the wig customly made to fit your head, which is great. But then after that, you're able to coming up, and you just need to put a wig on for a day. You don't want to wear the whole sew in. You don't want to have to deal with going to the salon. You could just go get some braids thrown in real quick. Or if you ever need someone to throw braids in, it throw on a nice little bob, and then if you want to run to the beach, you could throw back on your nice little body wave. Okay, we almost are done with our first row. Up back this way. And so some people don't cut their wefts. I personally always like to cut my wefts. I just feel like when I used to not cut the wefts, it just makes the wig look way more bulky. Some people choose to do it based on styles, but that's one thing I really don't compromise on unless someone personally requests me not to. But most times I find that people just want their wig to look as natural as possible and very flat. And with that, this is one of the tricks that I personally use to ensure that the wigs are as flat as possible, especially being that a lot you more than likely have to double the tracks to fit all of the hair inside of the head, and then it's all. So I just want to make sure that it's nice and secure. As you can see, we I miss Bubbles. Yes. So again, you also want to make sure you have enough thread on there. In this case, I'm not going to reuse this one, and I have misplaced my scissors. Oh, here they are. Here we go. And now you just want to make sure again that you double knot it so that it does. What's the other thing called that everybody's doing? I forgot. Sewing machine wigs. Yep, that's what it is. How are we feeling about the sewing machine wigs? Because the other day when I was here, and she was like, do you guys make sewing machine wigs? She was like, I feel like they hold better. Personally, I don't mind hand sewing wigs. And she said she feels like that the wigs last longer, but I've never had any issues with retention with manually sewn wigs. So is other people experiencing issues? So as we go in with our second row, I am going in again with our T. We are going to flip her over. Well, we probably should go this way so you can see her better. Let's do it that way. Guys, I swear, when you're making wigs, the most annoying thing is the thread. I guess that's why they say to use a sewing machine. So it won't get tangled. Because it's falling down a little bit, so that is okay. When that happens, I just kind of stop and reposition where I want to sew. All right, there we go. Wefts, the T-pins will be a little harder to push through, so just be a little patient with it and be careful and don't poke yourself, because I do that a lot too. For some reason, this thread just keeps wanting to go down there. Don't know why. All right, we're back in business. Repeat the same process over and over again in a simple way of saying how you make this wig. You just continue. Just continue repeating the process of sewing all the way through. Each time I start a new row, I do go up slightly higher so that we can begin to connect it to the closure. But actually, some people also just go ear to ear. It's nothing wrong with doing it that way either. But today we okay. We are almost at the end. And I'm gonna flip her over on this side as well so you can see what she's looking like. I'm gonna go with our scissors again and just cut it. And one more time to make sure that it is secure. Boom, there she is. It's off, as you can see, it's already starting to look very full. And we haven't even got one whole bundle in just yet. So again, we're gonna stop. Take the time to double knot it to secure this row so that okay. There we are. Another successful row, nice and in and straight. I'm gonna take the rest of this thread. We're just gonna knot it again to begin our next row. All right. This next row, we already have our thread ready to go. Actually, let me cut this piece. Also too, make sure as you're going to stick out of the wig. Gonna twirl our head this way. right, here we go. Let's also turn her over so that she loves to move out of position. I'm just gonna put her back here again, make sure she's on the right side. Twist her a little bit. Okay, there we go. So the thread has come to the end. Now I'm just gonna cut it. Right, there we go. Just gonna cut the thread, access thread again so that it doesn't show. Then we're just gonna continue sewing with a new row of thread.
It would be good. But
It will be good?
Yeah. I mean, you can always talk about your like your experience, how long you've been doing it, and all that stuff.
Oh, okay. I was like, should I talk about that?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Okay. I'm not shy. I just don't know. I'm just like, who am I on camera? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I'm trying. I could do that. Okay. We are almost done with our first bundle. You can finally start to see how she's coming together. At this point, you are it's not over yet. And I know y'all have one more vacation. And I actually got into doing wigs my freshman year of college. Really taking off during that time. This is when, you know, we were still somewhat rocking our U parts, but the closures were. And I called my mom and I was like, hey. And yeah, she told me to go to class. So I did what you're doing right now. I got on YouTube. I was an assignment and I took that money. So that was like maybe 10 years ago. And after that, I just started making wigs. I'd be like, oh, I made this wig this year. I write down what length it was, because sometimes over time, yes, hair, great quality hair like this and such, it will last for years and you can continue to reuse it. Just got it or just purchased it, so you just want to make sure that, you know, you write down all of the details so you remember, like, yeah, I went to private label, but maybe last time you got just a regular closure or you had HD on that unit. So I just always like to write down the materials I exactly bought, so that way I know what I'm replacing, because you don't want to get to the store and get a 4x4 closure, but really the unit was a 5x5. So I just try to keep it as organized as possible, and that's how I make sure that it always looks like I'm wearing a fresh wig. Okay, so I'm just gonna go in one more time, make sure. To secure it. And how you do that is too, if you take this piece of thread here and you just kind of twirl it like a balloon knot, and I cannot tie a balloon knot, but I can tie a thread knot. Don't know how that works, but that's how you can do it. Some people like to double knot it, but you don't have to. As long as the knot is secure and it does not come out of the weft when you're trying to sew, you're good to go. And here we are. We have our first bundle in. Let me loosen Miss Bubbles up so she can move. Ooh, there she go, y'all. Hey, y'all. Hey. Okay. Now Oh, it did? Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm gonna go in with my new piece of thread again, so we can finish out this row. So also too, as you get more comfortable, you can start to cut the weft in advance. That way you're able to easier see that you're coming to the beginning of the piece that you do not sew on. So I'm just gonna flip her over here. There we go. Sorry guys, I got this long piece of thread again. Just push my hair back. Away. All right, I'm just gonna go in here one more time, make sure it is secure. Okay, now that it's secure, I'm just gonna stick my needle back in at the top so that it doesn't get lost in all of this voluminous curly hair we have. I'm gonna get my scissors, cut it a nice length so you're able to easily tie it in a knot. Restart the knot for the next row, and then also knot the thread here on the end. And again, always make sure you do this twice to secure it. Boom, there we go. So from here on out, we would just continue to go in the same direction and making sure that it is connected to our closure here at the top. Also, this next row, I'm going to single sew. So when you're ready to begin single sewing, you could just take this apart. And of course, you're gonna have the two sections that you usually would have when you first open up the bundle. So now I'm going to begin to slightly put the rows a little closer together, just so it's nice and full and flat at the top. So we're just going to pin this in for us here. I'm going to also prop her up just a little bit so we're able to see and make sure that it is going and laying the way that we want it to lay. So I'm just gonna put another pin right here. So the T-pins also help form where you want the track to lay. So that's another pro to using T-pins versus if you sew, you're just kind of like sewing. The T-pin kind of helps hold it in position as to where you want the track to lay, which is beneficial because sometimes it may slide down, up or down, and before you know it, you may have a space bigger than you would like to have or smaller where the tracks are directly on top of each other. So I just like to stick with the T-pin to kind of help with that process. I have to think about that and try to sew at the same time. I'm just gonna twist her. Okay, she's tight again. Oops. And she's moving out of place. Okay, we're gonna put her like this. That way, now we can see. So I'm just gonna move my very first T-pin, and we will sew this in together to secure it down. Ooh. And our thread has got caught in our curls. Great. For real this time. Ooh, ooh, ooh. All right, we are back in motion. So, all right, we are now moving gonna rotate her around a little bit. Okay, I'm just gonna turn her over this way. Okay, as you can see, we are done with this row. Well, done with this width rather. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna make a very small weft to cover that open space as soon as we finish securing down the current row that is out. So I'm just gonna do it one more time to make sure it's in there. Okay, perfect. So now that it's in there, we're gonna cut it again. Cut the needle off. And repeat our double knot process. Perfect. Then gonna cut. Take the needle away. Put it in a safe place so you don't lose them. And from here, we're just gonna sew us just a little bit to fill in this empty space for this row. Okay. Oh, it's okay. We're back. Oh no, do we have our first real knot? Oh, I think it's, hold on, I think it, okay. I swear, when you're making a wig, if you're able to save that thread, it really makes you happy in those moments. Cause it's like, please don't let me have to start over. You see? There we go. You just gotta play with it a little bit. Most times, well, I'm gonna say with this nylon thread today, I've had good luck saving it. Just gotta be a little patient with it. Oh, I think we do have a legit knot though. Oh, I see the problem. We do have a real knot. So when this happens, unfortunately, We've made it pretty far though without one of these happening. When you get a knot, unfortunately, you just have to cut it because it's probably not going to go through. As you can see, it's just not going to go through the cap, and you also don't want to risk ripping the cap. So when this happens, just go ahead on and grab your scissors and charge it to the game. So I'm just going to cut it out. And it really feels like what a waste, because on top of all of this, it's not even a real row. We're just doing this little piece that we're trying to fix, and we're having to start over, but that's okay. Just gonna knot it up again. As you can see, I saved the excess thread I had over everything I was able to save. I kept, and here we go. I'm gonna try it again. Also too, I know I keep coming up and telling other ways why deep wave hair is so beneficial. So another thing I was thinking about too is, let's say like this is your first wig that you are purchasing and you don't know when you'll be able to get another one. It doesn't even require that much heat at all, really low to minimum. Once you go through for the first time and you mold down that closure, you really don't have to put any sort of heat on that wig again. So it's also preserving the hair, and you don't have to worry about having burnt or fried hair, which can sometimes happen if you're using too much heat. So you don't have to worry about that in these kind of cases, because you're wearing curly hair, which literally just requires a little bit of curly product and or water, and you're good to go. So again, now we're at the part to where we're almost back at our closure, and we do not want to sew over this. So we're just gonna cut it again to make sure we're not sewing over it. Boom. So here we are, guys. I know this row was a little rough. We ran into some hiccups, but I'm happy that you guys were able to see them, so that way you will know how to deal with them when you may face these issues on your own, or even if you get your wigs made, if a track falls down, you know how to fix it at home without having to glue it back in, which a lot of people like to do, but then you have to worry about when you wash it. Now it's glue there and it's stuck, so you can always easily fix that. So now we're going to take our scissors and we're going to cut it. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to cut this off, the excess. Now I'm going to take this thread, we're going to tie it again. I guess the little thread is trying to hang in there after all. Still got a little bit more. Oh, we got that. So, okay, so now I'm going to go in with the other half of the last little bit of our 20. And we're going to use this as our last row, and then we'll be on our final bundle. So as you can see though, I just want to quickly show this. You see how much of the head we have left? This is like perfect for a last bundle. So that's why I was saying that, you know, you have to just kind of pace yourself and gradually decide like, okay, hey, I may want to double this bundle, or I may not want to. It's better to have a little bit more at the end than none at all. So just be mindful of that as well. Okay, so I just secured it again with my T-pins, and I'm just going to continue to sew. So we are coming to an end with this thread. I'm just going to go in one more time, and I'm just going to cut it. So boom, we cut our thread, and we are moving on to another piece of thread that I hope is not tangled. Okay. All right, so let's get it. We are in motion now. Sometimes I feel like when I get to the top, I get a little faster. Because it's like at this point, the frame of it is done, kind of pretty much the motion of how we want the tracks to lay is done. So it gets a little easier to kind of speed up the process. So I'm just gonna continue to repeat this so over and over again. So here we are wrapping up this row, and then we are going to go in with our 18-inch bundle, which I always think it's a good idea to have a little shorter sometimes in the front because it adds more volume, even though personally a lot of times I don't like to cut my hair or bundles like to frame my face. I know some people like to do that, especially people who like to wear curls or curly hair. I know that's kind of a trend, but I personally like to leave all of my hair the same length a lot of times. So that way, like if you do decide, you know, you want to straighten your curly hair, you have the option of it all being the same length fairly, or even when you do like a 18 and 20/20, it's not super noticeable to the eye that the front may be slightly shorter. So that's my personal preference as to why I like to keep it. But if you're into trimming it to shape your face, that is okay too. All right, so there we are again. We are at the end of this row. I'm just gonna take this and then we will begin sewing our last bundle. Oops. Happy I didn't fall. Y'all would have had something to laugh at, huh? Okay, so let's tie a knot again. And we are about to begin on the last bundle. So we're gonna just open up that bundle completely. See a little piece of thread that's hanging up. I'm just gonna cut that right quick. Just gonna sit that right there for now until I secure it. And then I'm gonna go in with my T-pins again. Perfect. So as I get to the top, I try to, oh, I forgot about this little piece. Gotta stop. Well, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna finish this row and then I'm gonna go back. That's what I'm gonna do. And then I'm going to slip in. As I was saying though, as you get to the top, I always like try to square it a little bit. So what I'm gonna do is, guys, I actually made a little mistake because we had some challenges over here because it had got all tangled up or whatever. But anyway, I'm gonna finish sewing this row, then I'm just gonna clip this part up and then add in another piece here. So you just repeat the same step as before. And then also too, when you get towards the top, just to make sure it's not lumpy or one-sided. So one thing I keep looking at is I pay attention to the line of, well, I guess the thicker portion of the cap. So that way you're able to kind of map out and make sure that it's even and making sure your rows are consistent. So that's one way you can double check as you continue to make your wigs, which is very key, I feel, once you get to the top. Okay, so we're gonna stop again. I'm gonna cut the thread. Thread it. Cut it, then Gonna take our next needle and thread and continue to sew. Right, we are almost done with this row, so I'm just gonna take a little break here, unpin it. I'm gonna go grab my scissors, and then we are just gonna cut it. Okay, just gonna pay attention to where the cap begins and cut this off. And then I'm gonna go up a little bit. And continue to sew. Also, before I go into the next row, I'm going to again lift this part up and go back in and fix the portion below this before I move on. I'm gonna use this pink clip. I'm gonna go in and add this right here, a little piece, and just cut it. So even though this is a very small piece, and sometimes weird things happen like this, you make a wig, you just cut it and do the same process. And now our thread is not tied. It's okay, we're gonna get through it. We're gonna get through it. Okay. It's not right here, it's not right here. Okay, here we go. We're about to get back to it. Boom. There we go. Now we have fixed this piece. We get our scissors. I'm gonna cut it and then we're gonna proceed with the next row. Boom. And as always, just cut those extra threads as you see them appear so they're not left on the wig when you're ready to apply. So now I'm about to begin a whole new row of sewing. Just give me 1 second. Let me get set up. One second, take a little sip of water. Okay. Okay, here we go. We are back and ready to go. So again, we're gonna just continue to repeat the same process. I'm just going to pin it here. Should I do the next row? To see. So sometimes, guys, what I like to do just to make sure the top is really straight, that's why I'm pausing like this. So sometimes I like to just bring this whole entire section up and then sew this section really, really close together. So kind of create a separate box. And then I like to go back in and fill in the bottom portion. But it's totally optional how you like to do your top part, but I'm pretty sensitive about it because I like to make sure that it's super duper flat. So I'm currently having a conversation with myself like, do I want to do that now or do I want to do another row? Let's do another row. Because you also don't want to have too many tracks at the top of the head, if you know what I mean. So it's just about getting it as close to perfect as possible. Just gonna pin that one. Here we go. So I just poked my hand, and I'm so over the short needles, but unfortunately, I think I've used all my long ones for today. So just be careful if you're using the shorter needles, because it's easier to poke yourself with those. So guys, it doesn't take too much to style this wig. So once we're done, and we're very close to being done, I will show you how to quickly get your curly wig prepped and ready to wear. Take our last T-pin out here. I'm gonna grab our scissors and cut this row. I'm just gonna cut this needle off because it's not that much of it left. And then we're gonna go in and double knot this again. Boom, Boom. All right, there we go. We're gonna grab our handy dandy scissors here and cut it. Now that we're getting at the top, I'm just gonna lower her a little bit so that it's easier for me to see what her roots are looking like. Cause y'all know, if none of the rest of the hair is laid, you gotta at least make sure the top is flat, neat and nice. All right, here we go. We're almost done. I'm so excited for you guys to see the finished look because it's so easy to do to get this look, and it requires very, very, very low maintenance. So I'm just gonna pull this. The long thread is always a disaster, I swear. So, just gonna put that down for a second. I'm gonna go in with my T-pin here, and then I'm going to format a box within a box. So, I really don't think I got this off of YouTube. This is just something I do personally to wigs. Because I really just don't like lumpy wigs at all, especially at the top, like right where the 5x5 closure is gonna lay. To ensure that it's just as flat as possible, I'm gonna make a box within a box, and you'll see what it does once it's done. So here we have our box within our box. I'm gonna call it the box box. The box box. Okay, let's get our needle and thread. Oh wait, I already got one in here. So forgot about it. Okay. I'll tell you, multitasking is something that I'm still working on. I'm not great at multitasking. So I'm just gonna move that. Let me actually adjust this one because I don't like the way it looks. And it's okay. Every time you do this, you're not always gonna like it right up front. Sometimes you got to adjust it because you're visualizing how exactly you want it to be, and that's okay. So you just continue to sew on there. I think you got a little thread situation here. It's okay. Just kind of tug it on a little bit. Most times it fixes itself. There we go. And you just continue to sew. You just continue to sew. So guys, I randomly sing when I don't have anything to say. Every time I'm on the phone with my mom and I start singing, she always is like, bye. Bye. She doesn't want to talk anymore. But I don't sing, so don't ask. Don't ask, no. I could do backup though. Backup would be cute. But y'all is not getting Aja in the stew. Not happening. I swear, this thread, I think I will say, I like this thread better, but y'all, I'm just a little clumsy, so it's probably just me. I guess I'm gonna take these T-pins out because they really get on my nerves. So just gonna take them all out. Okay, I'm just gonna lift it up a little bit so it's not falling over. Oh no. 1 second. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna stop here and I'm just gonna cut this piece. So I'm just gonna hit this one more time to make sure this row is nice and secure. Okay. I'm just gonna cut it, cut the thread again. Then I'm just gonna go back in with probably like 2 more rows up here and then close it in. So I'm just gonna remove this curl that wants to be in the thread. I'm gonna take her out the picture because sis wanna be seen. These curls wanna be seen, y'all. They keep jumping back, keep jumping back. Oh, I think I got thread tangle on my shoe. Okay, guys, I don't know what's going on now. It just keeps getting tangled. 1 second. Pause. Now look, I did good, y'all. I had a minute before we start having challenges. Okay, guys, and we're gonna just do the same thing as before. We're just gonna cut it. Cut it. Cut it. All right, here we go. You know, I really wish I knew what was stuck to my shoe because this is actually a little annoying. Okay, we got it. We got it. Okay. There we go. I'm gonna get my handy dandy scissors and we're gonna cut it again. I'm just gonna tie it, secure, secure, secure. And I'm gonna cut this, okay. And then just gonna tie us a knot again, and I'll show you guys what she's looking like so far. Just give me a second. Let me just knot this up really quick, and then I'll show you guys how we're gonna go back in and fill in the gap that we left at the top, just to make sure that the top was nice and flat. So this is her right now. She's almost ready. She's almost ready to be seen. And then again, after we do this portion, we're gonna come in and fill this in right here. Once we do that and add our little piece at the top, we're gonna be done, and then we'll work on styling. This is just gonna take a very little piece. So again, even though we're at the top, we're still doing the same thing of just sewing very, very closely, but not directly on the lace. I'm just gonna make sure this last little piece is flat. So I just grabbed it so I can ensure that it is nice and tight. I'm gonna go over this part a couple more times just to make sure that it is locked in. Oh no, do we have a knot? We got a knot. We tried. It's okay. It's okay. It is okay. I mean, I think we did good. Throughout this whole wig, we had 2 knots. That's not bad. It's not bad considering. So when this happens, we're just gonna cut it like how we did before. Uh-oh. Y'all. Okay, so I think I may be a nylon girl for sure now. I don't know what I just did, but the whole knot is gone. It's gone. Just like that. So I'm just gonna go back over it and secure it. And then we're gonna go through one more time. There we go, y'all. Yes, it's nice and flat and neat. And just to be safe, I wanna secure this other side down too a little bit more, just to make sure it's super flat. So I'm going to knot this. Actually, let me just go back the other way. I could do that too. You can do that too. That's another thing. If you ever sew a row and you feel like it should be a little flatter, or you're not sure that you secured it properly, just go back over that row again. It won't hurt anything. I'm gonna cut off that excess thread too when I get back over there. Okay, so before I cut this off, I just want to go through and cut these pieces of thread out that we have right here. Keep it nice and neat. I always want to make sure it's nice and neat so that you're not walking around with pieces of thread hanging out your head. Because then they will know it's a wig. Alright, so I'm just gonna lock this little piece in right here. And then I'm gonna go back down and secure the middle with our last little bit of hair we have. Well, it's not the middle, the top middle. And then we'll be done with the sewing portion. And again, I don't know how I got into doing my wig like this, but I don't know. I just really like it this way for some reason. So this is the part that we're about to go in and finish up. I'll try to turn her head, but y'all know she don't like to move it like that. Y'all about to see her come to life. She's about to be so pretty. I really, 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 really love this hair. I highly recommend it. And you can get this hair today at Private Label. So now, guys, I'm really not doing anything too spectacular here. This is just going in, filling in excess space. We've already made sure our front and back is secured, as well as the middle. We're just filling in this space that I purposely left here so that we were able to focus on making sure the top part of the wig was nice and easy and flat at the top. So that's how we got this space. And again, you don't have to do this. You can continue to just sew up, up, up. But I personally don't like too many tracks on the top of my wig. I'm gonna cut this off here because we're coming a little short. Okay, I'm obviously having issues tying this in. Right, there we go. Now we're about to get back on the road. Let's just continue with our next needle here. Wait, is this one? Hold on. One thing I will say about this nylon thread though, it's very thin. So just kind of gotta see where it's going sometimes. But overall, I think I like it better. Okay, so I'm just gonna take my scissors again and just cut this. Boom. Oh no, the hair is in thread. Okay, and I'm just gonna go through this part a couple more times over here on the end. And again, with this part, you don't necessarily have to go all the way to touch the closure again, because we already went through the top and secured it by going sideways versus in the square, so you don't have to really worry about that. That's how we're able to make sure that it's flatter at the top, because we've already blocked it off. Dang, what did I just do with one that I was using? It's right here. All right, we are almost done. If I can get the needle tied. All right, here we go. Okay. Just gonna go in. And again, this part gets a little tricky if you do try this method, because you're no longer having to go to a certain point or another. You place it exactly where you feel it's comfortable. So like, for example, I'm not gonna go all the way down here because I've already blocked this section off. So literally just filling in wherever I see, in this case, Miss Bubbles' pink head. Guys, a curl got stuck in here again. These curls show is ready to be popped. Stay steady, keep getting stuck. Okay, but we are almost done and ready to be outside on this nice, hot, sunny day. That's what this wig is saying. Take me outside. Don't leave me at home, baby girl. Don't leave me there. Literally though, I'm not gonna tell, no lie. anytime like my hair is not done and I'm just trying to go outside and like, oh, girl, we finna go here real quick. And I ain't did nothing to my hair. Guess what wig I'm grabbing? This one. Cause all I do is just throw a little water on there, put a little hair lotion on there, and I'm out the door. Okay? I'm like, all right, y'all, see y'all in 10. And you could just never go wrong with the nice body wave HD 5x5 closure wig unit. It's definitely one of my favorites. Oops. Well, we sure is getting very naughty at the end. Okay. Oh man, I think this one is a real one. Wait, let's see. Yeah. All right, I gotta cut this. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry. Ooh. Sorry. Okay. I'm just gonna sew over this piece because the piece was very short. So I'm just gonna go back over it. Another piece of thread. That's another thing you can do too. Like if you have to cut it super short because the knot was to the root, just sew over that last little section and re-secure it down. And continue sewing. Now, as you guys can also see, we have used majority of our hair, which was the goal, to make sure we have a full, nice full deep wave unit. I feel like it's very important, especially with curly hair, to ensure if you want it to be voluminous, to use all of the hair or close to all of it. It's okay if you have just a little piece left, that's normal. But try not to have a whole bundle left worth of hair. So that's why you want to ensure, especially with curly units, that you double at least one bundle of the hair to make sure it all gets in. Perfect. Now we're just going to cut this again and secure it. I'm just gonna cut the thread out again and repeat the same process. So I'm just gonna move her head up now a little bit and fill in this little hole here. Okay, here we go. And after I finish this row, I always like to take one last step. After I finish all of my units, I just go through and do a quick glance to see if it's anywhere in the unit where I feel like I should add additional hair. And if I have leftover hair based off how many bundles I'm provided, I'll just do a quick glance to see if I can apply that extra hair anywhere. Gonna cut it this right here. Perfect. Now I'm just gonna grab my scissors again, tie a knot, and then we're just gonna do a quick glance to see if we should add any more hair. What I recommend too when doing this process, always start at the top. Always start with the top of the wig to double check. That way, if you do have extra hair, the parts that are most seen can be mostly secured. So as you can see here, you don't really see, it's nice and full. Then I just like to take my wig head down, bend it and go through it. Looks pretty much full. Sometimes I like to go in and fill in small spaces though that I feel like can be sensitive. Like for example, the top of the head. Like even though this is a small space and it doesn't really need it, I'm gonna still go in and add in a little hair here, and then I think we'll be fine. We'll be good to go. I don't know where the needle went. Sorry, I had to find a needle and thread. So I'm just gonna go in and add a little hair here, not a whole row, just a little bit. And this just helps your wig look nice and polished, and in certain areas that, you know, not necessarily need more hair, but that you can just add more hair. I'm gonna do probably a couple more sews and then I'm gonna cut it off, the excess hair. And again, these aren't necessarily steps you just have to take. I just recommend it because, for example, let's say it's a part of the wig where, you know, you could have potentially added more hair, but you decided not to. And it's super windy outside and your track starts to blow a little bit. I mean, I would rather them see hair than cap. So that's what we're trying to cover here. Make sure that it's nice and full. You don't have to worry about any scalp being seen. So I'm just gonna cut this piece. I saw a string up here. Cut this string off. Okay, perfect. Now I'm also, while I touch up this, let me also turn on the hot comb. That's pretty much the only utensil you will need for this particular unit, being that it's very low heat maintenance. You don't really need too much. Just get your hot comb. This is my favorite hot comb I like to use. I'm flattening out a closure and or frontal. So I'm just gonna turn it on. I always put it on as high as it can go, so I always go with a nice 500. So we're just gonna prop her up and just taking a look at her again, analyzing her, making sure she is nice and ready for the streets. And she's giving ready. She's ready to be outside. So, the very next step you have to do before you can begin styling is take out the T-pins from the back of the wig. Be careful, make sure you're not poking yourself. And what we're doing is right now is we're just taking the wig head off, because when you sew a wig, you have a black cap that's underneath the wig at this point. So what we want to do is make sure that this black cap is not here when we're trying to style. So I'm just gonna go in with my scissors and cut out this part here. So you only cut out the part right here, only where the closure is present. That is the key point. Please do not try to go cutting all down on the sides of the wig. You will mess with the stitching of the wig. So be sure to only cut this portion out. And an easy way you can do it too is if you flip it on the inside, you'll see that it's no stitching right here. So that's how you know that you're good to cut. Make sure you have decent quality scissors too when doing this step. Otherwise, it could be a little difficult to cut. Okay, this is what it should look like once you remove it. It's very small, not big. then as you can see, we have our nice HD closure here. And give me a second, I'm trying to get some supplies. Oh wait, we have a brush right here actually. That's exactly what I'm looking for. So I always like to go through and give it like a nice little quick little brush. That always helps get things nice and secure. So I'm just gonna just pin this down just to make sure that it's on here on the head. I'm actually going to pull this up just a little bit. Yep, like that. And you just go with your T-pins, you know, just to slightly secure. It doesn't have to be super secure in this case because we're not straightening hair or anything like that. We're just pretty much bumping the top. So we're gonna go in with our comb, little rat tail comb, which is comes in pretty handy when you are trying to set a part for a wig. So we're just going to make a part down the middle here. And as you can see, the closure is not that big. And you don't want to press this at all. We're only just molding down the roots of the closure. That way it makes the wig really flat when you apply it and you don't walk around looking like this. You know, it's cute, but you don't really want to walk around that way. I'm gonna have to get my stick that I dropped. Okay, so, oh wait, she's moving out of her position. Put her back there. And I'm just gonna like just apply just a little bit of this. Oh, and this is the Care styling wax. This is my personal preference in hair wax right now. And then you just take your hot comb and then, am I able to move a little?
Yeah.
This way? Okay, perfect. So just go like this and bump her down just a little bit. Again, and we are not trying to take away from her curls, so you don't have to do too much. It's just only to mold down the front of the unit so that it looks very nice and clean when you're ready to apply. You can't see it? Okay. I'm trying to do it this way. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. So again, guys, I'm just flattening out this beautiful 5x5 HD closure. I really like this closure. I highly recommend 5x5s because they're just, it just looks extremely natural. So again, I'm gonna go back in with my styling wax. Not too much, just enough. Then go back over it with our hot comb. And you just continue to take your time and mold it until you feel it looks its best. And I'm just gonna get a little bit more wax here. Shampoo conditioner. So as you can see, we didn't do too much adjusting. We're just strictly just trying to make sure that the hair is laying down. And after we do this step, you just go in with a little water and then you're good to go. Or curling product. We'll see what we have over here today. You just continue to mold it, continue to be patient with it. And really, after you do this step one good time with curly hair, you're usually pretty much go until you wash the unit. That's usually the only time you'll have to pretty much redo the step of molding the wig flat. Then at night, if you sleep in it, just make sure you use a satin scarf. That'll usually keep the wig looking nice and neat. And then after you go in with your satin scarf, go in with your satin bonnet. So basically you need both. Make sure you have the scarf to make sure it's nice and flat on your head, and then the bonnet to add moisture to the curls to keep them nice and fresh. I'm sorry, I have to turn her this way for just a moment. Just to make sure she's right. All right, let's see what products we have to work with, and then we'll work on finishing touches. Let's see what we have over here. That's the volume spray. I think this is styling foam. Holding spray. Perfect medium spray. Blowout primer. Widget. Oh, got some foam wrap. Okay, so we're about to add in some foam wrap. by Private Label that you can get as well for your curly wig. This will just help lay the wig down a little bit, really bring out those curls. So I'm gonna go in and pump some more. Just because this is our first time doing the wig, so the very first time you do the wig is when it requires the most maintenance. You just wanna make sure that it's nice and silky, moisturized so you can get all of the curls toward together. And usually after this process air dries, it looks really, really good. Or if you're in a rush and you don't like the wet look, you can always get a diffuser on your blow dryer, and then that way you can quickly head out if you don't want to go outside with wet hair. Stand her up a little bit. I'm just gonna pull the wig back just a little bit. Just use the brush a little bit. So at this point, guys, you just play in the wig until you get it to your liking. Personally, I'm just playing in the wig right now, trying to see what I want her to look like. So feel free to just play around with it. And this goes for all wigs. You also have to play around with it, you know, until you get it into a space where you are satisfied with the results. So this is all personal preference. So I'm just gonna go in one more time with the hot comb. And this just allows the wig to just lay extremely flat. And again, sorry, I have to move her over a little bit, guys, but bear with me. So sometimes too, when you're working with the hot comb, it comes out better if you just let it sit there for a while, especially when you're trying to get your part defined for the first time. So don't be afraid to let it sit there for a few seconds before removing it. Lastly, I'm just gonna put a little got to be on here, and this just, all of the girls know what this do. The got to be hairspray here, it just holds the wig in place. So after you do your molding, so that the wig doesn't lose its form, you just go through with a little bit of got to be, Doesn't take a lot, and this will just hold the wig in place, so that way as you're doing all of your activities for the day, you don't have to worry about the wig re-rising the way that we didn't want it initially. I'm just gonna hit the back a little bit, bring it down just a little bit. And again, guys, this is Vacation Bae. She is here and available for pickup today at Private Label Studios, Atlanta. Yeah, so we look forward to seeing Vacation Bae on you today. Thank you. And again, my name is Miss Aja on Instagram and all social media platforms. Thank you.